SMT Nation, we back. Nation, wanted to discuss a topic here with respect to Verizon as well as T-Mobile and AT&T and how they kind of all compete in the wireless customer space. When it comes to wireless services, what I think happens is, a customer basically will stay wherever they feel like they're getting the most value and they're satisfied with the services they're getting. I've as someone who's been in business for a long time, when customers get what they're paying for, they're happy to pay for it. When there's a disconnect and they're not getting what they are perceiving as what they're paying for, that's when they start to shop around. And I think kind of what we're seeing here is that in the switcher market, when you look at customers that might be at a certain carrier and when they feel like they're looking for something better or more, that's when they kind of like are at risk of churning away from their current provider and moving to something else. I want to talk about some of those tendencies and trends and kind of what's going on in the marketplace between the carriers. After Q2 earnings, we kind of have a clear idea of what's happening. I'll be sure to link the placeholder article for you. It'll be in the description. Also in the description, the Real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link. If you want to support your creators directly, you can buy us a coffee or support us in any other way, shape, or form. All the links are in the description. And if you're looking for a really good deal and value on wireless service, mintmobile.com/sneed. Use our Mint partner link. They can offer you that great value, legendary customer care, and you'll be helping out the channel. All right, so fresh off of Q2 2023, where T-Mobile gained 760,000 postpaid phone net adds in Q2. AT&T came in just above 300,000, and Verizon had consumer net losses, I think, beyond 130,000. 136,000 net losses or something like that. In total connections between like business and consumer, they're plus 8,000. But in my estimation, I still view this as negative. To me, it's all losses. All right, so you look at that, and then you look at big cable, which took major market share, or I should say the share of gross ads. Combined Charter Spectrum, Comcast Xfinity had like 970,000 net ads in wireless. I don't really want to focus too much on them. I'll mention them here in this commentary, but really what this is about is what T-Mobile is doing, what AT&T is doing, and what Verizon is doing. I want to start with AT&T. So AT&T has a balance. They've got decently priced rates and plans, and they've got a decent value proposition, and they have a good network, and that works for them. Their margins are pretty good. Their growth is pretty good. They're not the fastest grower, and they're not the highest ARPU, but they find themselves somewhere in between, and they're consistent with that messaging and with that conversion. Quarter over quarter, we see the same thing. Good profits and good growth. That seems to be the groove that AT&T is in, and it's working for them. Then you have Verizon, which is obviously much more focused on trying to upsell their current customer base, and in the process, they are losing customers. All right, for example, the total number of accounts on Verizon Wireless has been decreasing quarter over quarter and year over year, and it's been like this for a couple of years. And it's not really changing because Verizon has not structured anything within their business model to make a change. So it's going to continue. Now they've tried some other things. They've got the YouTube TV partnership with the NFL Sunday Ticket, and I think that definitely helps in Q3 and Q4. So rest of the year outlook, I think, is improved there. But what Verizon has done is they have essentially, mortgaged their future consumer side based on the My Plan structure, which is, your baseline cellular service, and then you pay $10 in add-on for like content services and other types of, options like streaming services or whatever things that you used to get with like the Get More plan. And it's gotten pretty clear that it's not working on its own, right? Verizon just throwing it out there and saying, this is what we do and this is what we sell. It's not working. They're clearly going to have to be more proactive with this. Now, when you look at the numbers from T-Mobile, they gained 760,000 postpaid phone net adds. And even if you count the free lines that are in there, which T-Mobile structures, two 2 lines are paid and then 1 line's free. But they just look at it by the account. In fact, net accounts added last quarter was almost 300,000. It was like 299,000. Those customers are coming from somewhere, right? Some of them are probably coming from Metro. Some of them are coming from Verizon. Some are coming from AT&T. But who's the customer that's most disgruntled and churning based on loss of value? Because when the customers go to T-Mobile, folks, they're looking for value. T-Mobile's most expensive premium plan is the most expensive in the industry, right? It's more expensive than, AT&T's premium plan. It's more expensive than Verizon's premium plan, standalone, as advertised. But when a customer goes into a T-Mobile store, or when they go to the T-Mobile website, they look at the multi-line pricing. They see the taxes and fees are included, and then they look at Netflix and the other value adds that come with it, and they're choosing T-Mobile. So even if it's, let's say it may only be 500 or 550,000 real lines, paid lines, whatever, T-Mobile still is taking the gross share compared to any other company in the big three. And it's because of this type of thing. So even with Verizon restructuring their plans, changing the way that they're actually built, and people can kind of pay for the services they want, while it is a good idea, while that flexibility and control is nice, it's not being executed properly to the market. All right. So I think there's some things that Verizon is going to have to adjust, modify, change in order to stop things like this from happening. See, T-Mobile gaining 760,000 is not a new phenomenon. It's not new. That's been happening. So Verizon restructured their plans and the market hasn't responded. So Verizon is going to have to advertise the My Plan. They're going to have to make it very clear the value that My Plan brings. I also think they actually do have to execute some kind of a value structure to My Plan. I think a bundle of sorts where it offers some kind of a discount for up to a year between 2 or 3 services. See, the customers aren't taking to it because they have to pay for it, where at another carrier they don't have to pay for it separately, right? That's what the customer sees in T-Mobile. They see a lot of things included in there, and that's what the customer has become accustomed to, is value. They're literally going into a T-Mobile store. T-Mobile reps are saying, which carrier are you leaving and how much are you paying? And then they move them from there, right? Here's this plan that we offer. They try to get them at the highest, so like the Go 5G Plus. And they show them, here's what your bill is with 3 phones, 3 lines. Here's your price. And then they look at what they were paying at Verizon for 3 phones, 3 lines, right? And after taxes and fees and everything. And the customer's probably saving about $40, $50, or $60 a month through T-Mobile, and they're getting more. That's the simple formula. T-Mobile's not doing anything otherworldly. They're just resonating with the customer more. So Verizon can obviously build great networking and, engineer and all of those things, and it's great. But the customer is like, if T-Mobile works for me, they're giving me a better value, and what they're offering me is more exciting, and it's more enticing and inviting. And price is what you pay, value is what you get. T-Mobile is giving people the pricing and the value. AT&T to a certain extent gives price and value, right, with signature discounts and all those other things. Verizon doesn't really get people excited about value, and we know that pricing wise, they're middle of the road, right? I mean, their entry plan is cost effective, like pricing wise, but gives you very little. To get a better network access, you got to pay more, but it comes with nothing, right? So while the industry has held on to value to a certain extent, Verizon has moved away from it. I think they have to start exploring how they changed the structure of their bill and their construct of their plans, and T-Mobile accelerated growth, still at 760,000. So as it's being executed today, the Verizon My Plan has not yet impacted the industry. So hopefully Sampath and Hans and those guys at Verizon look at this and say, what can we do Now that we've built this incredible portfolio of content, connectivity, and services, we got to get it on people's accounts. Or else, what did you really accomplish? All those resources, all that planning, all those partnerships and relationships, and nobody is taking to it. I think they have to start looking at options of bundling in which there are service discounts, right, and promotional activity that can get people excited about this. And I think you do that with the YouTube TV partnership with the NFL Sunday Ticket. I think you do that with, some of the other things that are revolved around the streaming services. Nobody has a better portfolio of access than Verizon, but nobody's taking to it. It's not resonating with the consumer. Time to get creative and time to get aggressive. And I think those promotional and bundling discounts within those services could be a spark for growth in Q3 and Q4. We'll see if they got something planned for the rest of the year or the end of the year. We'll be tracking it carefully. What do you guys think? What's your take? What's your take on the industry? What's your take on the current consumer sentiment and the brands? And what do you think Verizon should do to kind of change their trajectory? Love to hear what you guys have to say on this. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.